Hello and welcome to this edition of In Conversation. I am Ashwani Mishra, Editor Technology at ET Insights, and joining me today is Sumit Mukhija, CEO at data center company ST Telemedia Global Data Centers. Welcome, Sumit, to this conversation.
Hi, Ashwani, and thanks for inviting me.
Right, Sumit, will deep dive directly into the discussion. The general sense of urgency to address climate change has intensified across sectors. Now, for businesses, this means that sustainability is no longer, if I may call, a marketing bonus. Sustainable practices are table stakes to create long-term value and compete in the global economy. But what does this mean in practical terms, and what are companies doing today to set themselves up for a greener tomorrow? Especially from a data center perspective, again, data centers have thousands of electronic components, including servers, cooling equipments, power backup and generators, networking equipments, etc. Now, all of these require huge amounts of power to keep the IT operations running of a company. As a data center company, what has been your strategy to become a sustainable organization?
Yeah, thanks for that. And sustainability actually is a very vast topic. And every organization today is centered and focused around at least one aspect of sustainability. But I think it is all sort of culminating into ESG as well.
Right.
We'll talk more about that. But talking about STT GDC India, as a company, and both at the group level as well, sustainability is at the heart of everything that we do. So our green mission is built around very strong fundamentals that of leadership and transparency, and we have dedicated teams that look after green and corporate social and compliance aspects, which is something that you will increasingly see in almost all enterprises across the world. And all of our purpose-built data center facilities are certified green buildings as well. Our teams work relentlessly and use innovative and more efficient technologies and operational best practices to improve on the power utilization efficiencies across our facilities. So sustainability for us, therefore, is a responsibility, if you will, a corporate direction, and a stated KRA in the company performance scorecard, and even defines some of the payouts that our leadership team and the teams at large get. And increasingly, you will find the same thing across the ecosystem and across enterprises as well. Currently, almost a third of our energy needs are met using renewable energy sources, which is going to reach to more than 50% levels in the next couple of years itself. And we're pledged to be carbon neutral by 2030. So, and over the years, as I mentioned earlier, our sustainability focus has further matured and evolved into a full-fledged ESG strategy that stitches together the green aspects with people, society, and compliance.
Right, Sumit. So you've given a good outline of how you are focusing and the steps that you have taken in that direction. Now, again, sustainable or the ESG umbrella that you touched upon, it's much easier said than done. What are the challenges? I'm sure there are plenty. While we start towards that journey, one is, the one aspect is, can a business be sustainable at the same time be profitable? So I hear a lot, these comments being made. What do enterprises and CEOs like you have to consider while moving on this journey?
So it's an excellent question because, as you rightly said, sustainability can be perceived as a cost. It could very well be used as a competitive differentiator as well, which is what we try and do. Let me elaborate actually that how sustainability and running our data centers more efficiently could actually be a cost competitor, or a cost competitiveness for us increases with that. And it therefore becomes inherent on our part to have that in our mix. So if we are able to run our data centers more efficiently, right, this not only reduces the power consumption and the amount of power that the cooling takes, or even the servers and the storage eventually take, when we take customer inputs into the mix as well. So this reduces the overall power bill, and reduces the cost of ownership for the customers. It increases our cost competitiveness in the market so we can get more business as well.
Right.
And in the process, it is highly sustainable, right, as well, to consume lesser resources. So as I mentioned, this can actually be used as a cost competitive and a competitive differentiator when it comes to businesses like us, which is what we do for a living now.
Absolutely. Right. Sumit, you touched upon, using renewable energy. Now, the other component here is water. Data centers use a considerable amount of water because they need to generate electricity, cool equipment. How are you looking to make your data centers become water sustainable? A lot of companies are focusing in this area as well.
Absolutely. Again, a great question. But if you see, India is a water scarce country, right? There's dearth of water, and the water resources are not increasing; they're depleting. So, first of all, as a corporate direction, at least in India, we have decided to use only air-cooled chillers in all our facilities, which essentially means that the utilization of water is minimized.
Right.
We're using either air-cooled or we're using hybrid technologies that use water only for, let's say, increasing the efficiency, not for the primary running of the chiller. So that's one aspect. Second is in the existing facilities where we do have water-cooled plants, what we do is obviously we work on better power utilization efficiencies. So there is lesser need for cooling in the first place. Every year we have health and hygiene projects wherein we replace some of the older and aging equipment either with newer, more efficient equipment, or overhaul them, or look at various ways of bringing in operational efficiencies in them, so that we consume less power. So we have consistently been able to reduce the power consumption even in our legacy and existing older sites as well, which has further resulted in reduction in use of water. The third thing that we do in our existing sites, wherever we have the existing water-cooled chillers, is we have, for example, in Chennai, we use blow-down water, which actually goes waste otherwise.
Right.
Use an RO plant to recycle that and reuse that for chilled water plants, right? Which essentially almost led to savings of more than 18 million gallons of water annually, which is sufficient to fulfill the water consumption needs of almost 3,000 households.
Right.
If you were to draw some equivalents. So that's the kind of things that we do. Overall, at India level, we have 21 facilities across 9 cities. And I can say that our water utilization efficiency, WUE as it is called,
Right.
which is the liters of water per kilowatt hour per unit, is around 0.55, which is extremely efficient, partly because we use most of the places we use either air-cooled or hybrid. And in places where we use water, I've explained how we are trying to make them more efficient as well.
Right. So lots of figures, and so it's always good to know the numbers. Sumit, that's a good way of understanding people are walking the talk. Right. One question that I had, and in fact, initially you mentioned about you have dedicated teams that are looking at these activities. Now, from a customer angle, are you also empowering your customers to have visibility of their energy consumption?
Absolutely. First of all, we firmly believe that sustainability and overall even ESG is a mutual responsibility. It is a responsibility that we share with the ecosystem. And the ecosystem has our customers, our partners, our OEM suppliers, our manpower suppliers, our contractors, but most importantly, the customers. So the kind of equipment that the customers bring in, the kind of airflows that may be required for those, or the kind of workloads they're supposed to run, the kind of consumption patterns that those workloads will enable during the course of the contract. Those are the kind of insights that we request our customers to give. And we have metering, we have various sensors in the facilities through which we collect all of the data and provide it back to them
Right.
And those feedbacks and their consumption patterns and ups and downs and peak periods, the burst periods, they actually are very useful for the customer, because then they can plan their consumption as well.
True.
So it's a mutual responsibility, and those insights that we provide to the customer through daily reports, monthly reports, customer portals, as well as quarterly business reviews, they go a long way in establishing the kind of balance that should exist between them as a customer and us as a provider, and more importantly, between us as a partner in getting our sustenance objectives through.
Absolutely right. That's really good to know, Sumit. One more question that I had was, while the sustainability practices within a company are reaching maturity levels in some form, how are you trying to go beyond your four walls and trying to enable the the ecosystem that you operate in, so your partners across. So are there efforts that are going in that direction as well?
No, absolutely. As I mentioned, it is actually a shared responsibility between the entire ecosystem. So constantly we strive for partners who understand and are aligned with our ESG objectives. Let me actually dwell upon all three aspects of the ESG that we work on along with our ecosystem partners. So we talked about environment, right?
Yeah.
So with the customers, I explained how we work closely with the customers. But with the OEM partners, with the manpower contractors and the equipment providers as well, when we evaluate their products and the services and the technical data sheets that they submit, one of the primary criteria is the efficiency of the equipment they are sharing, and the kind of resources they consume, the kind of spares they maintain, right? So the whole idea is to ensure that they are environmentally sustainable, as well as capable of supporting the 100% always on kind of environment that we operate in. Right? So that's very, very clear with our OEM partners. We also have the corporate social side of ESG, where we partner with some of our ecosystem partners and suppliers. We actually created a center of excellence in Bangalore, where we are training some of the fresh graduates and fresh pass outs from leading ITIs and polytechnics, giving them a hands-on data center kind of mission critical experience. Right. In the process, increase their employability. And that has resulted in them getting employed at maybe twice or thrice the salary points which they otherwise would have obtained. So that's our way of
a dual objective here in some form.
Absolutely, yeah.
Right, Sumit. Sorry, I stopped you. I think.
No, so the third part, which is also very, very important, is the governance part in that thing. So we want to do our business very, very ethically and responsibly. So those dedicated teams which are there for the uptime and the sustenance are complemented very well by the teams which are also looking after the governance part, the ethics part, the integrity part. We use diversity and inclusion as a differentiator. Those diverse thoughts actually enable us to come up with solutions which are very well appreciated by the customers as well. So we're trying to cover all three aspects and not just keep it to just sustenance in the data center, because we think that they are related topics. Yeah.
Absolutely right. So in fact, you've touched or covered all the points, and you've given a holistic view rather than just focusing on one area. Sumit, I'm through with the questions. Any point that I would have missed or you want to highlight, please feel free to do so.
I think some more. I mean, we talk about sustenance and we talk about ESG, but I do want to talk about what kind of benefits that this accrues for the industry or for the customers at large as well, and how we sort of use all of this as a differentiating factor, if you allow me.
Right. Yes.
So, yeah. So primarily, we try to bring value to our customers and prospects on three key fronts, which is our facilities, our domain expertise, and the mature business practices, which leverage concepts like ESG. So let me touch upon all three. Let's talk about our facilities first. We have pan-India presence with 21 carrier-neutral sites across 9 cities, which also happen to be top 9 in terms of India's GDP. The facilities range from highly network dense edge facilities to large purpose-built multi-tenanted facilities, which are built to suit for large cloud and internet players. And with this portfolio, we are able to cater to almost all the use cases that our customers require, because they are then nearer to their end customers as well.
Right.
And able to offer the services at scale. What it also means is that these facilities, which can have large core centralized data centers, they are more efficient than the individually run server rooms, which some of the customers, some of the enterprises used to run in their office, in their shared office premises, right? So they're highly efficient because they're purpose built. And that is why I said that we bring value not only in terms of the sheer number of sites and the scale and the expertise, but also in terms of our ability to do it more efficiently as compared to what the enterprise customers would have done themselves with their captive server rooms. The next part is our capabilities, right? So data centers has been our bread and butter, and we've designed, built, and operated data centers since 2003. Firstly as an avatar, firstly as a line of business for Tata Communications, and then in our new avatar as STT GDC India since 2016. So we have in-house design, build and delivery capabilities, and most importantly, the operations, the 24/7 mission critical always on operations, which is again a differentiator because since we have purpose, defined teams who work 24/7 and who have the required tool sets to maintain these kind of 24/7 operation environments and do it more efficiently by running it with lesser power utilization efficiencies, by actually identifying and preventing some of these issues that may crop up and cause downtimes, or by identifying the equipment that needs replacement with more efficient ones. Right? So again, all of this has an impact on both environment, the total cost of ownership, and more importantly, the uptime requirements of these always-on businesses.
Right, right.
And the third part, which is there is our emphasis on the ESG, which we already discussed. But let me just give a pitch again that this framework, as far as we go, this includes our people, the communities around us, as well as compliance and governance and code of business conduct. This has been our strength for all these years, and our ESG practices, I can say, are far ahead of our industry peers and at par with some of the most mature enterprises globally. And we have used this to our competitive advantage for all these years.
Absolutely. Right. So people, planet, and profit, so all you're covering all these three aspects. Right, Sumit, it was a pleasure having this conversation with you. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much. And thanks again for giving me this opportunity.